Alright guys, some quick context as to what's going on. I'm getting ready to pull my boat out of the river at the ramp. I'm backing down the ramp. Once I get to the bottom, I shut it off, leave it in first gear, set the parking brake, and here comes Alex because he actually forgot his cooler on the boat. Camera shuts off, and somehow in a 2-minute span, the truck inches its way into the river without anybody noticing it. And now here's me jumping back in the truck. I turn the camera on. I'm looking for a tow strap. Alex is backing into the water. He went in way too deep, and that was pretty scary. But everybody was kind of panicking, and here's how the whole story played out.
Oh, jump a tow rope, dude! Man! Oh, tell me to hold the tow rope, dude! Hold on. Alright, start inching forward. Very slightly.
Chris's truck is underwater right now.
Keep coming. Slowly. Oh, shit. Alex, come back. Keep coming. All right, stop. Really slow, Alex. All right, stop there. No, let me keep going. Yeah, keep going. Really, as slow as you can go. I mean, as slow as you can go. Hey, that's safe. No, back. Bring her back. Right there. Go. Keep coming.
Stop!
That's enough. Keep going. Stop. As slow as you can possibly go. Open the doors. I did. All right, the trailer's dead on. We'll keep the trailer. Just for the record, that's about as far as you can sink your truck and trailer and still save it, because that was a good 8 feet under the water. We'll be all right, babe. Delaware mud. Oh my God. Yeah, the river almost took her, man.
Well, we'll get it figured out. Don't stress about it.
You mind coming my boat home?
Fucked up a little bit, dude.
What?
I'm sorry, I kind of fucked up a little bit.
No, you
Chris.
didn't. No, you're good.
Chris.
What? We got the truck back. Alex broke the rope and the truck started going back in the river.
I don't think you're understanding. I don't have.
Oh, I don't care, babe.
You will tomorrow.
No, I don't want to share this. This is embarrassing.
Nah, dude, this happens, bro.
Chris, this is what it's all about.
Well, whatever. We'll see if a Toyota's as tough as they say they are. It was
Oh my
under
God.
the dock.
I can't even believe what just happened.
I can't believe we actually got
All
it
right,
back.
somebody else hold the boat.
That was good thinking on the cleat, though. That was smart.
It's gonna be a long day tomorrow, because I gotta rip the whole interior out of my truck, and it's wheel chocks for life if you're at the boat ramp. Wheel chocks for life, because I had it in gear with the parking brake on, and I guess those rear tires just didn't have enough traction. So either 4-wheel drive or wheel chocks.
And thank God we had Alex here, right?
Thank God he pulled back to the ramp. I mean, if he didn't, it was game over. It was like the perfect storm there.
How deep do you go?
Hold on. Stay there. Hold on. Let me back up the boat.
You go as far as the fenders?
Yeah, just about. All right, stop. Get a little close to the dock, Alex. I'm gonna pull off and bring it just further out on the ramp. All right. Go.
No, can you get a picture real quick of where his truck was? Just so if you're watching this video, and sorry about my cuss words, His truck was underneath that dock over there, probably in about 16 feet of water, easily.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was.
I can't even believe your truck is on Earth right now.
I can't believe it either.
Like, dude,
if it wasn't for that cleat too, like there might be body damage because you were hitting the dock, pulling it out the truck, and like hitting the dock. I'm like, no, it's time.
Oh my God.
Let's clean it. How quick it went? The current grabbed it,
Yeah,
dude, and just
yeah.
took it.
It was taking it.
It was gone. You saw how quick that went under, babe.
I know. I
I mean, the current just grabbed the trailer and just went with it.
I heard the rope snapping while you
Yeah.
got that other strap. I
Yeah.
heard it snapping. I was like, oh, this thing's going back in. That truck's an official submarine. That's wonderful.
So Chris, what were you going to do if you didn't get it back out tonight?
I called tow truck company. Yeah.
Oh, and
It
they
would
would.
have been expensive too.
Yeah.
And the EPA could have got on my ass as well because that thing might have been up 2 miles down the river. That could have been really, really bad.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you couldn't just like act like it didn't happen?
Well, that might have been the better move. Yeah.
That would have been a permanent fixture in the Delaware River, is what
Yeah.
that would have been.
I was ready to disconnect the trailer too when it wasn't coming out. But then I was like, oh, it's in gear. Let me pull out of gear.
My God, dude. Should we try to start it?
No. Well, I mean, we could, yeah. But no, not with the computers and stuff.
He says, yeah, let's start it.
All right, we just got some tools here for the plugs.
It's just a little bit of water. It's fine. It's
I think
fine.
I got a spark plug socket in here somewhere.
Fine. It's good. We're good. We're good. Everything's good. It's fine.
Good to
It's
go.
fine. It was just a little bit sunk. It's good.
A lot of work to do. Let's get these plugs out of here.
Where's the other strap I'm missing here? It needs to dry out.
Yeah, we need to unswamp her tomorrow. It was good effort though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you keep pointing that camera on me?
What are we doing now?
We got the trailer. We're going to get the swamped out truck. This thing must have turned on when it was underwater. It's locked up tight. Holy smokes. Well, yeah, I don't leave my winch that tight. All right. Use the other winch. Very possible this cable could snap and the truck rolls into the river. All right, load it up on the trailer, chain her down, and we'll head home and see if we get this thing running tomorrow. Good to go. Next day, and boy, do I have a lot of work to do. First order of business is pulling all this interior out, and we'll get things dried. This is where it got caught on the dock. Got some rash there, and then when the trailer jackknifed, I already had a dent here to begin with, but the trailer jackknifed and pushed the bumper in and pushed this in pretty hard too. Let's see how much water is going to be in this darn oil. Oh, good amount. There's the oil. All right, I'll put the plug back in it for now. That's good enough oil to crank it over with. I didn't want to crank it with all that water in there. Well, it ain't pretty. got everything pulled apart. Unfortunately, a ton of electronics in these newer vehicles. This is 2004. So I got everything pulled out, the seats, all that stuff. I got a basement full of stuff too. The carpet's over there, and I still have a bed just completely full. I didn't even bother touching this yet. I got some stuff I gotta go through in here. This chainsaw. Easiest way to get the majority of the water out of the fuel is gonna be right at the fuel filter here, I think. Oh yeah, yep. That's got water. Now I can crank her over, pump that water out. Better yet, I'll just go jump the fuel pump. Let's pull the siphon on the tank too. Let's see what this looks like. So that looks much nicer. Oh yeah, that's not mixed with water at all, so we do still have good gas in the tank. Try to dip this hose in deeper, get to the bottom. There's some water coming out. You can see it's separating too. That's a good sign. All right, majority of the water's out. Still some in there, but it's Toyota, so she should fire up now. Toyota. A little steamy. Let's see, it is trans fluid, rear axle. Yep. Transfer case. Not too bad. And front differential.
Here is the aftermath.
I threw one seat and a floor mat in. Gonna take her for the first long ride tonight, 160 miles. So hopefully we make it. Wish me luck. I got no gauge cluster, nothing. Gotta dry her out. Well, she made it through the whole 160 miles.
Couple problems. The taillights, the brake lights stopped working. 2 of the taillight bulbs blew out because of the water back there, so I had to address that. And then also the starter motor clicks sometimes when you're starting it. And I also had some delayed throttle response on the highway a couple times, so I got to take apart the electronic throttle control and see what's going on with that. But yeah, she made the trek. So Toyota for the win, baby. Dunk him in the river, put her 10 foot under, good to go next day.
Under the dock. Yeah, I mean, it's wild. This thing is a champion.
Cleaner than it was before. This broke off, and then good nice dent where it hit the dock underneath. You can't even really see it. Here we are next day, launching the boat out. So I've now put it in 4-wheel drive, locked in first gear, park and brake on super firm. And since I had such a terrible experience happen to me, let off, truck is not rolling, well, I've brought wheel chocks with me. So that way I cannot possibly lose my truck in the water again, because that was a pretty scary experience, right, baby? Yeah, she's a good first mate. And so you can't lose your chock. You always have a double pair like this, so you can't pull off without being there. Good to go. Maybe a little over the top, but for now we'll do that. Let it go all the way out and pull in. You get over your fear of me losing my truck again?
I was stressed out.
Got your Phillies hat on.
All right, let's get moving.
Here's why the starter was being stubborn. This is a magnetic solenoid that slides and contacts these two right here. Well, you can see quite a bit of corrosion. This is actually the original Toyota starter for this truck though, 200K on it. So yeah, I'll just get that cleaned up and be good to go until it breaks. Luckily it's just 2 bolts to get out. I did have to change all the fluids the second time. You can see it came out pretty milky, but if I let this sit for a couple days, I bet you this will separate and the water will go to the bottom. Next day we can see this separated to 3 colors. You got clean oil on the top and this color, and then down below like a more milky color. Wow, no water in the airbag module. Looks like this one actually self-bailed itself. Stainless tank under the bumper here. That thing's full of water. Now that I know the engine runs good, I pulled out the fuel tank, which only took like 10 minutes to get her out. Probably should have just done that to begin with. And you can see there's quite a bit of water up in the top up here that came from probably the charcoal canister, so I got to pull that out of there too. I'm going to soak what's left on the bottom and then fill this back up with some fresh fuel. Also flush out the lines. I'm actually surprised the sock is not dirtier from running it with all that river water in there. 5 days later on these seats, the water is just so locked inside of this foam that even with dehumidifiers and fans going and squeezing the water out, I mean, still, it's the only way I've found to do it is to put a towel on it and then jump up and down and soak up what's in there and soak it back into the outer layer of foam. But even after jumping on it a couple times like that, I bet you poured some water out. Yeah, see, look at that puddle, it just came out of it.
I mean, we're talking many, many gallons of water inside of these seats. But I'll get them dry. The marker lights have been stuck on the entire time, whether I hit the switch or not, so I've just been pulling the 15 amp fuse on that. But then I just pulled the circuit board for the remote door locks, and this had some corrosion on it. Cleaned that all up, and now they don't stick anymore, although my keyless entry doesn't work. But maybe get a new one of these. See, these guys got burnt out in the instrument cluster, so I need a new one of those. After cleaning the board off, the tachometer is now working and the speedo's trying to work. I'm doing about 50 right now. It's only indicating 30. Getting a little bit better there, almost accurate and coming back to life. Let's see what the inside of this old fuel filter looks like too. Yeah, some rust starting in there. Nothing crazy though. 1.7 ramp slope. Launch at your own risk. Let's talk about a serious possibility of why my truck ended up in the river. So I was in two-wheel drive, right? And first gear, so let's shut my truck off. I'm still on this 1.7 slope. I'm at the top of the ramp, but if we shut it off, snap off the clutch, let go of the brake. Oh, holy smokes. Yeah, the truck really does chug back pretty good. I don't know if you guys seen that. That's in first gear.
And what? No.
And it was that's with no parking brake. But yeah, the first gear does not hold this truck. So with the I think it really did. I think I just didn't have that parking brake on super tight enough, and it chugged back in the first gear. Yeah. Now here's the kicker. Check this out though. Now if we go, this is why you need to have it in four-wheel low. Because if I go in four-wheel low right now and pull forward just a little bit to engage. All right, now. The engine has to spin like 4 times as fast in four-wheel low, right? So if I put it in first gear, no parking brake, we're in four-wheel drive, I'm gonna let go of the brake, it holds. So always has to be in four-wheel low, period. Just to recap, in the end of the day, my fault. It was in two-wheel high in first gear, and I don't think I had that parking brake set firmly enough, and then it chug-a-lugged back into the water. That's why when I got out of the truck, you know, she didn't roll, but 2 minutes later, it took 2 minutes, and then I look over and the damn thing was in the water. So yeah, for now on, certainly four-wheel drive, four-wheel low anytime I'm on a steep incline like that all day long. And of course, if I had that parking brake set super firm, it wouldn't have happened. But what if the cable breaks? That's why you have it in four-wheel low, so that way first gear will hold the truck on a steep incline. And geez, this is a boat ramp you would never want to sink your truck in the salt water. I mean, it would be just done for. Well, here we are over a month later in August, and the truck is still working good. So I figure I'll close this video out. I'm sure a couple people are probably thinking, why'd you even waste your time fixing this old ratty junky truck? And the answer is, I love this thing. I've driven it cross country a few times. I've climbed the mountains. I've done crazy stuff with it, and I just couldn't let her go down like that. So, you know, I don't really have any money into fixing it. The interior ended up drying up fine and doesn't stink or any problems like that. I got to put a couple things back together, like with the glove box back in, but the carpet and that's all together. No smells or problems. Here's that dent I was talking about up here, a little battle scar. So let's see, this bull bar was bent pretty bad because I actually tied the rope to it here, and the reason I did that is because, well, it was pretty deep in the water and I had to swim down to just I tied a bowline underwater, which actually came out after pulling this thing out too, which was cool. But you know, some people were probably thinking, oh, why didn't you just hook up to the winch? But I always keep this covered up, and so that wasn't very accessible. And as you saw in the video, it actually turned on itself when it was underwater, because I guess the water caused the relays to go, and this bent in pretty far and it got all bound up. I showed you pretty much everything I had to do, with the exception of like emptying the water out of the headlights and taillights and a couple other odds and ends. Pretty much everything works minus the power mirrors, the temperature gauge or the coolant temperature gauge, and nothing really else. I mean, a couple odds and ends things in bed. Everything works in that. The chainsaw works again. I had to clean that out. I actually did a separate video on getting the water out of that. Some items didn't make it, like my Cobra CB radio, but that's cheap and old anyway. And then I had my factory service manuals in there, and well, these were sopping wet, but I pointed the fan on them and they dried out completely, and they don't have any mildew or anything that started. I mean, it's not as
compact as it used to be, but still lots of excellent information in here. Now, originally I was debating even putting this footage together because I was kind of worried about all the haters coming on saying horrible things, and then I realized those guys probably don't even have manual transmission or a boat or anything like that. So I mean, I've been boating my whole life. Ever since I had my license, I've had boats and trailers, and I've never had that happen. But you know, whatever can happen will happen. And clearly the fact that well, we already went over this, but the manual transmission it's a little bit more complicated at the ramp, and if it was in the park that wouldn't have happened. But then again, you guys have probably seen videos of people sliding down ramps too, on slippery algae ramps, so it's always a good idea to put it in four-wheel either way. And just chocking the wheels it's not a bad idea either, because I don't know if you guys saw in the video when we were pulling it out, there's actually some big wakes that came in as soon as we had the truck kind of coming out of the river, and that's because a tugboat went by. And at nighttime you don't even see that tugboat coming, and they can roll, those guys fly at nighttime, so they can roll some pretty big roller wakes coming in there and pick up the back of your truck. And once the back lifts a little bit, if you don't have chocks on the front or something, I mean, it's going right in. So that was you know, I'm gonna say this story was a success, and the Sea Ray's still going good, but I've been rocking the Bass dumpster a lot more, and I've put several trips on this. Went up to Camaradas a couple times. You know, I've done 5-6 hour trips in this since everything's happened, and the truck still works good. So I'm gonna say it was a win and a good learning experience to be more careful in the future. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should mention to try to cover all the comments. Why didn't we see this truck going into the river? Well, it was pitch dark at the ramp. It's not very well lit up there, and Alex had came down because he forgot his cooler on the boat. So he's down there. Next thing I turn around, and the truck seems it had creeped into the water. Why doesn't the truck hold itself in two-wheel high on a slight ramp like that? Because really it should in the first gear. Low compression. It actually has low compression on 2 of the cylinders. It has for a couple of years now. It's only got like 40 psi on cylinder number 5, and it actually misfires when it's cold, like in the winter time, but otherwise it hasn't been a problem. So I've just been rocking it. The fuel mileage isn't quite as good, but unbelievably with the 40 psi, and I think it's like 60 on one of the other cylinders, this engine doesn't misfire and runs good and still tows trailers. So anyway, I could ramble all day, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up now and drop any feedback down below. Hopefully you learned something from it. Hopefully you learned something from it, or it was interesting, and I appreciate you watching if you did watch this far. And stay tuned for Bass Dumpster Part 3. Been working on that. And yeah, no nonsense, no how. See you again. This morning's project's gonna be finding the leak in the 5-ton spare tire, so I can put it on and find a leak in the other tire. These things are massive.